Welcome back to the shed, everybody. Here I am, the man in the shed. It's Andy. How you all doing? Hope you're all having a good day. So today's video is going to be about the history of football, because who doesn't love football? The greatest game on earth. Everyone's got their own opinion on who the greatest players are, which the best team is. Let's be honest, everyone. We all know it's Portsmouth. But anyway, yeah, funny, eh? Anyway, we're not just going to look at how football is played today. We're going to have a look at how football was actually came about and was invented. I've got my script. I've got my iPad here. Was going to do it with a script. Started recording it earlier. Yeah, I was boring myself. Let's be honest. When you got someone like that constantly, you might have seen a Royal Rumble. There's a bit of that in there as well. But I'm going to try and make it as interesting as I can. I was falling asleep making that one, so I thought, nope, let's go make some bullet points. Let's use them. If you do see me looking down a bit, it's because of the bullet points. As you can see, the barnet on top, it's getting a bit long, getting a bit out of control. Can't wait till I can go back and get a haircut, but that's going to be a couple of months yet. Time I end up going back to my main job, I'll become a hippie, I reckon. Might need a haircut fairly soon. Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about today, and that is the history of football. So if we're looking at sports where people actually use their feet, we're going to have to go back 2,000 or 3,000 years BC, and there was Chinese footballers who used to play a game called, sorry about the pronunciation, Ariel, you might have this one a bit better than me, my friend. Being from the Philippines, you're probably better at Chinese than me. You know, personally, I like a chicken chow mein, but hey, there you go. It's called Tushu, maybe. And basically what you do is you get a leathery type ball, stuff it with hair and feathers, and the idea was to stop the opponent from getting it into some sort of hole with a net in, and you just jump on them and try and obstruct them and all that. It's a bit like playing against a Sam Allardyce team, I guess. But there you go. Then about 500 years later, the Japanese invented a game called Kameri. Again, sorry about the pronunciation. It was a bit like an organised version of keepy uppies that we might play today, you know, at school in the playground. Don't actually go to school. I don't play that in the playground myself. I'm not talking about me. For anyone thinks, what are you playing in the playground with the kids for? I'm not. Okay, I'm denying that completely. And then the Greeks and the Romans, they had their own versions of games. They have names. I'm not going to even worry about pronouncing them. I can't do the Japanese and the Chinese. I'm not going to get the Greek or the Roman right either. You want to know what it is? Look it up. Basically, you had to get the ball across some sort of boundary, and then I guess you got a point. Going more on to the formation of official rules of football, you've got to look at England because that's where the game was invented. So the rules first started to come into some sort of shape in the 1940s. It was played mainly in public schools. So, you know, places like Eton and that, where they would play it. The problem was each school had their own rules. And in about the 1940s, they all started to have a bit of a chat about, you know, how was this game actually going to be played? And there were so many different versions. The first official sort of game recorded really was about 1508. Not saying it was like what you're going to see in the Premier League today. It certainly wasn't. But it was the first sort of recorded version of a game somewhere in a school somewhere. In about 1409, the term football was first introduced as a game. Then, so yeah, that was when it was first documented. The first official rules were in 1948. They were the Cambridge rules. Obviously, they were written in Cambridge. Not everyone agreed with them. In 19 57, the Sheffield rules came out, which was formed surprisingly by the Sheffield club. I'm sure if they ended up becoming Wednesday or United or neither, I really don't know. But they were more similar really to rugby, so probably wasn't. Then in 1961, the FA was officially formed. You know, the FA, which obviously those who run the FA Cup and the Football League and stuff. Then in 1971, something quite big happened. The FA Cup was first played. The Rugby Football Union was formed. And soccer was used for the first time. Now, why is football also known as soccer? Well, the word comes from the word association. They've taken a bit of that and come up with soccer. So it's not the Yanks' fault. It's actually an English word used for football. And then in 1977, the formal rules were actually introduced into football, similar to what we know as football today. Few rules have been changed and added since then. So most of the rules from that came mainly from the London Football Association and a little bit from the Sheffield. But not much really changed then until 1925 when offside came in. So originally you'd always have to have 3 players behind the ball. It then changed to 2 players behind the ball. That made it a bit confusing and people weren't that understanding. But I tell you what, if they think that is complicated on offside, try and understand it nowadays. Nowadays it's another level confusing. You know, I think you almost need to have a degree in something to understand what the hell's going on in football most of the time. But so that, like I say, 1925, offside was introduced. In 1958, substitutions were first brought in, 1 sub. Before then, if you even had a broken leg, let's be honest, you don't really want to play football if you've got a broken leg. But say you have a broken leg, you've got to carry on. That's it. You either carry on or your team go down a player. Does that mean that it would be almost right to go and try and injure a player? Not condemning that, but if you can take out their top striker, you know, imagine the modern day England, and they think, right, if we can take out that Harry Kane, that takes away that goal threat. Why not? Also, when a substitution was introduced, not sure how long it took before they thought, you know what, 2 minutes into stoppage time, let's make a substitution now. That'll take a couple of minutes. That'll waste a bit of time. Not too sure when that started. Then in 1970 was when the introduction of the yellow and red card were introduced. Little backstory to this. The referee is the same referee who, I think it was in 1963, was the referee in charge of a game labelled the worst game or the most violent game of football. He refereed that game, and then he was the one who thought, you know what, maybe we should introduce some sort of card system because this game is so horrific. Yellow card can be like a, hey, let's calm you down. Red card, you're off. But that's something that we may well tackle in the next couple of weeks. So I'll bring you more on that game as and when I decide to record a video about it. Anyway, so then back in 1992, the next big rule change came when the back pass rule came in. Because, you know, you get the 1980s, how many times, let's blame Liverpool because they were the top team then, would get the ball and pass it back to their goalkeeper. I even remember in a 1986 World Cup final, one team in stoppage time, near stoppage time, they had a free kick in their own half and they decided to play it back to their goalkeeper to waste time. That's how boring the back pass made it. By bringing in this back pass rule, it became confusing. I remember it was Leeds against Liverpool in the in the what's now Community Shield, then I believe the Charity Shield. They had a match at Wembley, and they got so confused with this back pass. It was quite hilarious to watch, but that's another thing for another time. In 2012, possibly one of the biggest changes came in, and that was goal line technology. Basically, what this meant was your Manchester United goalkeeper can't drag the ball from about 3 foot in his goal and stop it from coming. And then, of course, nowadays, everyone loves a bit of VAR. So the rules of the game always changing. Now it's a multi-million-pound industry. It sort of makes sense that the rules are updated for the modern game. Is VAR right? I think when you look at sports like rugby, eventually it will be right, and it needs time to develop. But some of the offsides that you're getting, and you could argue offside's a black and white thing. You're either onside or you're offside. But I think there needs to be a little bit of leeway from, in my opinion. You know, the hair width isn't really offside. It needs to have a bit of distance. Maybe they should take it from, I don't know, maybe where their feet are or a certain part of the body. But that's my opinion, and it's something that will be argued about constantly for the next however many years they have it, because it's always going to be right for one team and wrong for the other team, depending on whose side you're on and who you want to win. Anyway, that's a little bit about the history and the rules of football and how they've changed over the years. You know, I do hope you found this video a little bit interesting, if not the most exciting video you've ever seen. But anyway, I'm back here at my shed again. Here it is, the shed. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment if you've got anything that you think, oh, shut up, Andy, you don't know what you're talking about. Hey, don't overload the comments now, will ya? But please like, subscribe for more videos. Filming at least one a day, hopefully, over the next couple of weeks. May try and get a couple more in, who knows? But anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. Look forward to seeing you again soon. See ya.